So welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. We're going to talk about the driving enterprise hypergrowth through SaaS applications for the next 20 minutes. And because I'm the only one up here that's actually not an operator, I'm going to let these guys do all of the talking and just, ask them a couple of questions. So I think it would be good to start with a brief introduction of who everybody is and what your company does. And maybe also a little bit, what the target customer is or clients, just so people can put it into perspective when you answer later on. Do you want to start, Alain?
Yeah, I can start. I'm Alain Mevellec from Sellsy. Sellsy is a SaaS solution offering a very wide range of features, generally separated in companies in different software. So we do like CRM, invoicing, project management, POS, e-commerce. I have a long list like this. I won't go all through the details, but our idea is to offer something integrated versus having different software that don't talk together. Cool. And we are launched in France. We're in La Rochelle, which is a city close to the sea, and we are 45 people, and we keep growing at a fast pace at the moment.
And what is the size of the typical customer for you?
A typical customer is a company able to put between 20 and 100 people on the software.
Okay, great.
Okay, so my name is Greg, and I'm a CEO and co-founder of Growbots. At Growbots, we help other companies to find and connect with all of their potential customers. So we've built the first all-in-one outbound sales automation platform that gives you access to about 200 million people. And you can not only find their contact details, but also reach out to all of those people automatically. We are also the first company that is introducing AI-based algorithms to the contact process, so the campaign is really run for you automatically. We were founded in 2014 in Poland. Right now we have about 60 people in 2 offices, one in Warsaw, Poland, one in San Francisco. And we have over 300 customers that are mostly SMBs from the tech space.
Cool.
Hi everybody, I'm Eddy Fioretti. I'm co-founder and CEO of Cloud Desire. Cloud Desire is a brokering and monetization platform that enables automated SaaSification and immediate distribution for any kind of application across any cloud with any commercial arrangement. Meaning that we are not a pure SaaS product like my colleagues. We are sort of an Amazon for business software. We are a double-sided marketplace that get in touch vendors and buyers of business software. We are targeting SMBs mostly, simply because enterprise-grade companies are not usually buying software from a pure cataloged from an e-commerce, from a store. We are up and running. We are venture backed. We are selling the whole platform to telco companies, mainly to big service providers. But most important, we are focusing on the launch of our own application store.
Cool. And Matt, as the last one.
So I'm Matt, CEO of Mansion. Mansion is basically Google Alert on crack. So we help any company know what's being said about them on the web and the social web, and also to spy on their competitor. We were historically very focused onto the SME market, and now we are targeting more the mid-market, and we just launched Mansion Enterprise. We are 40 plus people in the company across Paris and New York, and growing fast.
Cool. Okay, as you can see, there's quite some variety in types of companies and products being offered here. And I also want to point out that it's 5 nationalities that we have on the stage here, which is pretty cool, and also shows what an event like this, can do to bring people together, which I think is very nice. And the next question is kind of a quick fire, but I would just be curious to know if you, as you founded the company, right, or as you joined the company, was there a cloud product, an enterprise product that you guys, really that you purchased and have since been really dependent on? Like, do you still remember that product, or is there something that you just, can't live without at this moment? Maybe just go through it quickly, if there's anything, and name it.
Easy, it's MailChimp.
MailChimp?
Yes.
MailChimp for you?
Yes, we launched in 2005, and MailChimp was at the beginning, and we used it until 2 months ago, when we integrated this feature into Sellsy, so we are now using our own food. But we really loved using MailChimp, and it really helped us in the beginning.
Until you got to this point.
Yeah, because it's important.
Yeah. Greg, is there something for you?
Yeah, so when we started the company, we had a super simple goal, so to grow as fast as possible and get it started. So we basically set up everything that we needed to start doing outbound sales. So we started with the simplest CRM there, Pipedrive, then Google App emails, and we just launched our own software to run the campaigns. And then until after a few months, we got to about 200 demos we were setting up for our salespeople, and we could focus on other parts of the business. So we started improving communication with Slack, customer success with Intercom, and go on.
But Pipedrive initially just to get something quick in there that was not that expensive.
Then we changed it after a few months to close that IO,
which
and
is
now we
interesting, and you said that too, that you started using MailChimp, and we'll get back to that. There's oftentimes what happens is that a certain piece of software, even for enterprises, is suitable for a certain part of the journey, right? And then you sometimes switch to another provider, and that also has implications on you and your software, right? Because the companies that you're providing tools to, you might also change, and as they grow, have different needs. And we'll get back to that later, but let's finish quickly with Eddy and Matt.
And for us, we are using several products like Unbounce for landing pages, Drip for
which is a 0.9 investment.
Excuse me?
Unbounce is a 0.9 investment.
We use Slack for communication. We use several cloud services. In this phase, we are very focused on A/B testing several things in order to satisfy our market, and at the same time, we're very focused on product development. So it's very useful for us, as you were saying, to leverage external products. We are looking at HubSpot in order to integrate several features that we are now buying from different suppliers.
Makes sense.
On our side, the first one we really used was actually MailJet. Which is transactional.
It's also an e-founders company, right?
And an e-founders company.
Keeping it in the family.
Family business. We still use them, and we use as well for the marketing emails.
Cool. So the reason I asked that is just to show that these entrepreneurs usually eat their own dog food. There's a couple of SaaS tools that you use and that your business depends on, and the issue with actually getting other enterprises and a lot of the more established incumbents out there to realize that these new cloud tools can actually help them to drive growth in the companies is actually a challenge that you're facing, because as opposed to you guys that go out there and buy these tools and build a business on top of that, which is one of the reasons why it's so easy nowadays to start a company. These guys oftentimes have to be convinced, right? They're using legacy software, they're using Excel, pen and paper, but they're using something that's not you guys, right? So one of the big challenges for you to actually, get them to accept that you can help them is them finding you, right? Or you finding them and then winning them over. And I was curious if you have some learnings or how you particularly doing it at your company maybe, and then just a couple of quick learnings that maybe be practical for people in a similar situation. And maybe we start with Matt this time and then go around.
We, depending on our market, we have two strategies. On the transactional part, we have a mantra in the product team that in less than 30 seconds, the customer should see value in Mention. So we do everything we can to simplify the first user experience. So within less than 30 seconds, they will know the news about their company. This is the first things they will monitor on a product. We will show them some news and articles they haven't seen. So usually it works. And then on the enterprise side, we actually do this, but we do it ourselves. Let's take an example. We want to convince Microsoft to become a Mention customers. We will create their account for them, pick up the news, take screenshot, send them an outbound email from the sales team, and they will see value directly. They don't even have to log into the product. They will see value in our report, and we share it like on a daily basis. They get a bit used to it. Then at one point in time, we call them.
Right, so you show them value before they actually,
Yes.
you lock them into a purchase.
Correct.
Which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Eddy, what do you? It's different for you guys, right? Because it's not that easy for you to show them your product that easily.
Yes, I try, assuming that we are double-sided. On the demand side, what we do, we divide the process in two macro steps, that is lead generation and deal closing. In the lead generation, we use mostly outbound sales in this moment, paid, because it's too early for us to move into the organic and inbound. Once we have a lead that is hot enough, based on our metrics, depending on the product that this lead is focusing on, if the product is simple / well-known, we keep going with the deal closing, trial, try to buy and buy. If the product is not well known, has a high cost, or needs some nurturing, we involve the vendor for the last mile, because
you don't want to have the complexity.
if I start selling their products,
Right.
I will never become as powerful as they are.
Right.
Also,
So
from
some
an
of them need
emotional
more
point
hands-on
and
treating.
standpoint.
Yeah.
On the supply side, we use conferences like this. We use personal relation, word of mouth, and it's more light to heavy human touch.
Got it. Yeah, quite different than what
Yeah.
Matt is doing. And for you guys, and you're a specialist in this. I mean, this is one of the values that your product brings is actually creating leads, right, and making it easier for companies to find potential customers.
Yeah, and like our product is also working for enterprise customers. We
Yeah.
have quite a few customers that are super successful with cold emails campaigns that are sent to like super big customers and reaching out to C-level executives and setting up meetings. So it's working up. And this is very important because like when you think about those enterprise customers, the biggest problem is that these guys don't wake up in the morning and think, damn, I need to, disrupt my sales process with AI. This is what I need. No. They have some strategy that is working for them, and you have to come to them. So you have to be very active. You cannot wait for them to come to you. And, when you get their attention, as Matthias already mentioned, you need to show them the value super quickly, so they get bored very easily. So like when we got them to a demo, we basically start from learning more about their current process. We figure out how many hours it takes them to send an actual campaign, and we show them how to do it with a few clicks. And they just do the math in their
Right.
head
And you can
instantly
probably-
and see like, Jesus, half of my team is just wasting half of a day.
So you can actually show them the cost savings, right, or the
Yes.
increase in productivity,
Yeah, so
because you can do the comparison.
the best approach to enterprise customers is to help them to either save a lot of money or earn a lot of money. So if you can do it, it's easy to convince them that you
Yeah.
have something that can help them.
Fair point.
For us, it's interesting because we started with a self-service strategy. You come, you pay with your Visa card after a trial, the classic SaaS model. And we stopped 1 year ago. We stopped the free trial completely because we realized that it was playing against us, because Sellsy is a quite complete and complex software, and it was just like going in a nightclub during daylight. So it was not very appealing. So we prefer now to put the consumers on a demo, show them the pretty stories that they want to hear,
Yeah.
a bit like you, and they quickly see the benefit, especially if they use Excel on-premise software, they see even more. So this is the sweet target for us, people using Excel, because it's really easy to show them the difference. And once they have this pretty story, then we let them try
Right.
the software.
But it sounds like, as opposed to Matt, for example, that mentioned for you guys, it's just probably it's not that easy to show this wow in 30 seconds as they can do, because they have some information. on
It
company
depends
name.
on the qualification, because Sellsy, for example, we do POS and we do time tracking. So
Okay, so
it's
it depends on
totally
the
different.
customer. Yeah.
But when we get the lead, it has been qualified by our SDRs, so we know that the guy is interested in retail.
Yeah.
So we will give him the
Better treatment
retail
on it.
demo.
Yeah.
The retail demo.
Okay, that makes sense, and that also relates to the point that we touched upon earlier, which is, you know, as these companies mature, it can come from two angles, but either as these companies mature and actually grow, right, their needs change, and also sometimes, you know, you go into a market and you have a certain hypothesis about what your customer is, and it turns out it's actually not the case, or at least you have to readjust it a little bit. So what I'm curious about is, have you experienced any you know, pains or any lessons learned from actually moving from one customer segment to the other? So I think, Matt, I just know you guys have, I think, started a little bit at the lower bottom and are now moving upper to the enterprise, whereas I think, Eddy, for example, for you guys, it might have been the vice versa, right? That you guys started a little bit more on the enterprise and found that, you know, actually some of the customers are sitting more in the medium, smaller sized segment. And if not, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, let me know.
Yes, but the reason is we built the platform, we found a huge client that was a telco company before before being funded.
Yeah.
And in this case, this big customer was meaning for us product validation, learning on their enormous shoulders, because they have an enormous customer base to expose the marketplace to paying the bills. That is not,
of course,
it's relevant when you are not funded. So we started there, but at the same time, our focus has always been the marketplace, our own marketplace.
Okay.
Our value today is to SMBs, but at the same time, what we can say to the supply side, to the vendors that we are onboarding, is that we have an ecosystem. We don't have a marketplace only. We have an ecosystem, because if we find a good product, we can go back to our enterprise-grade customers saying, hey guys, we have a good product. Why don't you sell to your customer base on top of our customer base? Because on B2B, you are not competing each other.
Fair.
This is functioning.
How is it for you guys moving upstream?
Yeah, we come from the very bottom. So when we started Mansion, it was entirely free to use Mansion. So it's not even a free trial with a basic version like Evernote or Dropbox model, and only people that want advanced functionalities would then pay for it. We come from there, then we move to the transactional type of business model, SME, no salespeople, discussing to another type of buyers really. And then enterprise, which is really more mid-market for us now.
Yeah.
It's again a new type of buyers, and we have to adapt kind of everything, you know. And now it's like sales-driven. You have marketing collateral. Marketing needs to generate leads and not free trial. So it's very different, and we of course have to adapt along the way.
Makes a lot of sense. You guys have anything to add?
We can sum it up very easily for us. It's very easier for us to get one customer at 5K a year than 10 customers at 500. Because 10 customers at 500, it's 10 times the tickets. Often it's the first use of a CRM and devices software, so it's more questions. They are more likely to churn. And when you go to a 5K customer, it's a company that's already had processes, maybe Excel, maybe Salesforce, whatever. So they can clearly see the value in 5 minutes much more easily. So that's why we completely dropped our self-service pricing.
So
now you can't pay Sellsy online. You have to go through a sale.
How did you go? How did you? I mean, maybe for both of you then. How did you go through that process of deciding? Because I've seen this a lot of time, and it's not an easy decision when you see, because usually it's not that clear, right? It's not customer group A really works, customer group B doesn't work, so let's shut off B and do A. But it's like both work somewhat. One might work a little bit better than the other, but then the other month it's opposite, right? Like it's not that clear cut. So how do you approach this kind of decision to say, actually this model doesn't work or this customer group doesn't work, let's just focus on the other one? How did you go through that process?
For us, it was super easy. When we reached 100,000 users, we started to see those examples, but like Microsoft, Spotify, signing up for a service and directly buying a premium plan. And that's kind of where we realized two things. We were stupid because we were leaving money on the table with the freemium
they
model.
would have paid more.
Yes, and the solution was good enough to be sold to bigger enterprise. So that's kind of a learning curve. That's how we decided to change.
Yeah. Was
For
there
us, it came from our sales team mostly because they were locked in our old pricing grid and they couldn't do the extra mile because it was a fixed price. Now they have much more flexibility. They do what they want. We can
So
do
pricing
a
is also
very special
removed.
deal
Yeah.
for a customer. Our biggest customer for 1 year is a guy that bought 11 POS, and it doesn't fit in any easy
Right.
pricing because you have to put consulting, you have to put assistants. They also buy hardware, so it's a real deal. So you have to take it independently.
Right.
You can't do it.
Very important thing here is like to think where is this sweet spot that Alain mentioned, that like you want to make as big deal as possible and then as fast as possible if you want to grow fast. So we've done a lot of analysis after first 6 months of sales, and we figured out that not only like big companies are least responsive to our emails, but also it takes the longest to close the deal, and the deal is the smallest ticket. Because like when you're early stage, those like
You
big
take everything,
companies
right?
would always take advantage of you and tell you at the end, we want to test it for free, or I need to convince
Is that
my
true? Or
boss.
did you have the same experience?
100%.
Yeah, it
The
just
scumbags
like
with the big money.
last month I lost a deal that was supposed to be like 80,000 a year, and the last day of the month the guys just thought like, why are you actually paying for a test? And they asked for a custom solution first of all, like
Right.
2 months before. So you need to be aware, because in our case it really occurred that like the fastest moving and the most profitable customers for us are like super small companies that just raised money and need to grow super fast. So like what the lesson is you don't have to just go to enterprise because you think that will bring a lot of money. You have to be ready for this. You have to have like hundreds of customers, credibility,
Right.
so they see that a lot of people are using it and it might be something good for them.
Yes.
That's the right place, because I see a lot of my friends like hunting those like super big deals for months and months, and they're like, no, we don't have revenue, but if we land this deal, we'll have like 200,000. But I'm like, just guys, come on.
The probability is not that high, and it
You're
will take
telling
forever.
me it every 3 months when we meet.
But that's a good point. So you have to be ready, right? It's not just about who can you reach, but you have to be ready to reach that customer too. Makes a lot of sense. Also curious about, usually with SaaS businesses, even if you start in Europe, which all of you guys have done, from day zero, you basically have 50% of your customers coming from other countries. This might not be true for every of your companies, but for most of them, it is. Have you guys noticed any big differences in the willingness to accept software or to sell the software across different countries that you are active in?
I would say that the biggest difference is basically the approach to people. So if you talk to people in the US, all of them would say, I love this. I love it. I want to buy, never buy. So it's a big difference that you need to learn that in the US, like people are over-optimistic about things, and you need to learn how to approach the closing process.
Yeah.
While in Europe, people are more honest, and if they tell you, I like this, they really like it. So this is a big difference. And other than this,
Except UK, when they say yes, they're meaning no.
really,
And vice versa.
Oh yeah, in the UK?
No, okay, I'm joking.
maybe, but...
It's hard to understand that.
And the other thing is the sales culture. It's completely different in Europe and in the United States. So like in the US, people don't treat the sales guy as an intruder. They don't think that this is like an enemy, they are like interrupting my day. If they get a chance to learn about something, they use this opportunity. They will tell you about your problems, so you can analyze the situation and tell them if you can help them or not. In Europe, it's more likely like, no, just tell me what you do and I will know if it helps or not.
Right.
You ask a question, no, it's confidential. You ask a question, no, it's confidential. So how the fuck you can help them if you don't know anything? Yeah. So those are the...
So it seems like it's easier for you to sell in the US.
Yes or no.
Different
Yeah, so like
stories.
the final sale also depends on like how many competitors you have on the market, this kind of stuff. So it's always like
Fair
very
point.
different.
Very true. All right, then we have only 1 more minute left. We probably could go in a lot more deeper in a lot of these things, but that's something that I'm also personally interested in. I'd just like to understand, but it can be a quick answer, but what you guys think personally about this. In the willingness to pay for software as a service applications, do you guys think that we are at the very beginning or that we are at very mature levels? Or does it depend on certain factors? But the kind of high-level thought here is, will there be more commoditization so that there's more and more competition coming in and there's people competing for the same products at the same dollar? Or will enterprises wake up and actually be more aware about the value that you guys drive to them and that you're actually underpriced? which direction do you think this will go?
I think they understand the ROI concept when you explain it. We tried, we are 15 euros a month, 20, 25, 30, and we never had churn or anything. So we say, oh wow, we're probably too cheap, and we went like multiplying this by 10, and we're still selling it, and we're selling it better.
You multiplied it by 10?
Yeah. Almost, yeah.
Wow.
And we sell it easier than we did at the very low price.
Right.
So I think for a company, when they get the advantage, when they understand that the salespeople who have 2 hours free more to do calls, it's easy to sell.
Right. Did you find something similar, or how is it?
So like I've read the report recently that like an average SMB company only spends $500 on software this day. So I think it's just the very beginning, because it's $500 is nothing.
Yes, agree.
On the same page, we are at the beginning. I can tell you, we were asking at the beginning of our services for 15% commission. We are now asking 50 to 70, but because the vendors are asking us to pay us more in order to be granted that our service is keep pushing. Because they are worried that with 15% we will stop serving them. Yeah. We are not always asking 50, but this is a strong signal that the market, in my opinion, still has a lot to learn.
Right, agree.
Agree on this. I also think that the more player will get on the market, so there will be more commoditization, which will drive costs really lower for some of the SaaS, which is like a weakness for some of them. So it's only about like innovating and creating more value and potentially much more vertical than horizontal in the approach.
Agree.
But some businesses will be like transformed into commodity, and you would not pay for it anymore, basically.
I agree. I see it similarly, and I think something similar is true for consumer subscription, which is another bucket, right? But I think that we are also at the very beginning of that, and even more so than for software as a service, where services like Netflix, Spotify, and so on are actually educating us about a subscription model. And I think that I would be willing to pay twice as much for my Netflix, for example, because it's still only going to the movies once. And these kind of things, like I think it's like it just takes a while for people to realize and respect the whole value. And once the companies are more mature and people really accept it as part of their lives or their work lives, right, the willingness to pay just increase. Okay, thank you guys very much. We're a bit over time here, so I'm going to wrap it up. The next one up is going to be a panel about hiring, the pain and gain, growing from 30 to 100 employees in 24 months or less. Also a long title. And Michelle Williamson is moderating that panel. Thank you guys very much.